Hopium, the irrational optimism not supported by data, evidence, or reality, is one hell of a drug. Excessive partaking has left the Alberta oil industry stoned on its own hubris, hallucinating about an energy future that is nothing more than a flashback from the past. To prove my point, I'm going to talk about two recent publications. The first is Kevin Krausert's June 17th Globe and Mail op-ed, "The Real G7 Story is the Quiet Reassertion of Canadian Energy." Reading it is like talking to the drunk at the end of the bar, come closing time. You're speaking the same language, but he's not making a lick of sense. The second publication is the International Energy Agency's monthly oil market report, which also came out June 17th. The IEA's data would scare any Alberta oil booster onto the wagon if they bother to read it. Let's start with Krausert. He's the CEO of Avatar Innovations, a global energy transition venture studio. What is a global energy transition venture studio, you ask? According to Avatar's website, it, quote, fills a critical gap in the energy innovation ecosystem by working with large oil and gas firms to champion solutions from within by engaging their staff, end quote. The solutions being championed are how to decarbonize oil and gas production. And this is how Alberta defines the energy transition: reducing greenhouse gas emissions created when oil and natural gas are extracted from the ground, not transitioning to electricity created by new energy technologies like solar, wind, and geothermal that powers new demand-side tech like EVs and heat pumps, which is how the rest of the world understands the transition. Krausert was encouraged by the recent G7 summit in Kananaskis, Alberta. He thinks it signaled a return to Canada's historic role as a middle power, mediating between bigger powers like the United States and Europe. Quote, if Canada is to re-emerge as a global voice of reason and calm, there is no more powerful tool than our energy sector, a sector capable of attracting investment, creating prosperity, and responsibly supplying a world increasingly hunger for secure, low-emissions energy. He argues that there is a, quote, new national energy consensus, end quote, emerging in Canada. Quote, it's been more than a decade since Bay Street, Parliament Hill, and Stampede City have danced in step like this, end quote, he says. The rest of the op-ed is about how to leverage private sector capital rather than taxpayer dollars by rolling back the many Trudeau regulations the oil and gas industry despises. The choice, he concludes, is, quote, about leveraging our current strength to build future leadership. In short, we can build the new energy system by powering the existing energy one, end quote. Let's not kid ourselves. Krausert's op-ed is just one more demand by Alberta to expand oil sands production, ditch regulations the oil and gas industry say inhibits growth, and build more pipelines. That's it. That's the agenda. More production and pipelines, fewer regulations. Krausert really tells on himself with this sentence, quote, public purses across the developed world have been strained to the point that there is little appetite to subsidize emerging energy technologies that have up until now only driven up the price of energy, end quote. Folks, this is right out of the OPEC playbook, 2023's World Oil Outlook 2045. It's also a talking point you can hear in any Calgary Tim Hortons. But is it accurate? The IEA oil market report doesn't think so, and it provides math to support its case. In short, electric vehicles are already replacing demand for road transport fuel, which makes up 45% of all global oil consumption, while increases in demand from petrochemicals only offset the losses until the end of this decade. Barring an unpredictable geopolitical conflict, like an extended Middle Eastern war, the global oil market looks to be well supplied out to 2030. By then, demand will be 105.5 million barrels per day, while production capacity will be 114.7 million barrels per day, a potential surplus of over 9 million barrels per day. According to the IEA, global markets don't need much more of Canada's ultra-heavy sour crude oil. Oil sands production is already expected to grow by 600,000 barrels per day over the next 5 years, which should offset losses in supply from Venezuela and Mexico. Existing pipelines can more than handle that growth. What pipelines can't handle, there are rail options. If I'm wrong, then someone can sharpen their pencil and do the math to prove it. Thus far, neither the Alberta government nor the oil companies have shown their math. Frankly, it's shocking that Alberta and Canada are having serious discussions about new pipelines, according to Premier Smith. No one has yet shown the need for them. No one has demonstrated there will be customers in Asia and Europe for the extra Alberta production. The closest Krausert comes is claiming that, quote, the world is increasingly hungry for secure, low-emissions energy, end quote, by which he means Canadian oil and gas. But where's the proof for this claim? There is none. Governments and companies are obsessed with supply. To hell with demand. Build it and customers will come. Now that's some serious hopium, folks. In my opinion, it's time for the pro-pipeline crowd to show their math or shut the hell up.